I wish to begin my talk this morning with a great Celtic blessing, followed by a beautiful Navajo prayer. The warmth of the sun to you, the light of the moon to you, the silver of the stars to you, the breath of the wind to you, and the peace of the peace to you. And now this beautiful Navajo prayer. I walk with beauty before me. I walk with beauty behind me. I walk with beauty above me. I walk with beauty below me. I walk with beauty all around me. Your world is so beautiful, O God. The other thing that I wish to do, which I always do in writing and in talking at conferences and forums, my presentation today is dedicated to the youth of the world, our children and grandchildren, who are the unfolding story of the decades ahead. May they rise to the challenge of leading our troubled world with hope and wisdom in the interest of the common good to a better future. Many new friends we have got at this forum this year, and they have been asking me about the GCGI. So very briefly, what is the GCGI? The GCGI came into being in 2002 at a conference, international conference at Pl College, Jesuit College in Oxford, where I was studying pastoral theology. When I was leaving the college, the chaplain of the college knew about me, that I am not just a student there. I had had another life as a university lecturer and so on, 20, 25 years prior to that. And I was able to help many students with the thesis, with the work, with the studies, etc. And I also used to give lectures. So the chaplain says to me, Kamram, you have done a lot for us. Is there anything I can do for you before you leave the college? I said, Father, I will be delighted to see if we can have a new form of dialogue and conversation on economics, philosophy, ethics, theology that I have learned in this college, because all my previous life was just about economics, values, free subject that I was teaching my students. He said, no worry, Kamram, I will do my best. And we put a call for papers out. In those days, we didn't have access to internet and all the things that is possible today. So we started to send letters out to different colleges and universities. And to my surprise, a delightful surprise, we had nearly 200-300 people, about maybe 70, 80 speakers and participants. That told me and the others that yes, there is a need for this kind of interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, spiritual forms of gathering where people come in the interest of learning from each other, speaking to each other rather than at each other, and so on. And the rest is history. Few people ask me, Kamram, why don't you hold the conference in Oxford every year? We thought about it and we said, why should we hold it in Oxford every year? We go to the world. We have got a message that we want to share with everybody, and we also are very eager to learn from other people, other ways, other traditions, and so on. So the conference has been to many, many parts of the world, and many people at the universities and the think tanks have been very kind in hosting the conference. The GCGI has got no funding, not a penny. And we have been going these places because of the love and the blessing of those who have hosted the conference. And some people ask me, oh, you have got no money, you have got no funding, and so on. And I tell them, but we are one of the richest organizations. Why? Because we have got wonderful friends. And those friends have made us the wealthiest initiative and organization anybody can wish for. So you are the one that have made this all possible. I don't want to talk too much about that, but that is the essence of it. We are very much interested in values, what makes us human, what makes us humane, and how we can create a better world together, co-creating it together. And that is the important point, together. GCGI and our joint forums together is also all about hope. Hope to create a better world. And as Steve was going to talk about hopefulness, I thought maybe, I don't know what he was going to say, but this is what I want to share with you about hope. The world needs hope. Every person, everywhere needs hope. Hope gives us life. Hope connects us. Hope fuels us. Hope moves us. Hope keeps us. Hope grounds us. Hope protects us. Hope anchors us. As far as back as 6th century BC, the Greek poet Theogenes of Megara said, "Hope is the one good God remaining." The poet Theodorgan reminds us that hope is a profound act of imagination, the most important and the most neglected of the civic virtues. In the face of the present societal and global crisis, we can lie down in despair, or we can choose hope, which means placing all our faith in each other and in the boundless capacity of the imagination to reinvent circumstance to establish new truths. And these things cannot be possible if we are not hopeful that yes, indeed, we can imagine a better world. We can build a better world. Wherever I go in the world, like all of you, traveling, meeting other people, I have discovered that we are not mean people. We have hearts and minds. We care for each other, and still we have our dreams. And in dreams, as the poet Delmore Schwartz once said, in dreams begin responsibilities and possibilities. Considering the multiple nature of the concept of hope, its study requires an interdisciplinary investigation. This is why I hope my presentation, however brief, however short, will contribute to this investigation and then to encourage dialogue, primarily between economics, philosophy, theology, and spirituality, and all other values that makes us human. And to some extent, this is also the story of the GCGI. Okay, I talked about hope and its importance. When we are hopeful for a better world, it will encourage us to imagine that better world, so we can walk towards it, we can dream about it, and we can co-create it together. Hope and imagination go in hand. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful than the one with all the facts. Albert Einstein said that. Okay, now we are hopeful. Now we have started to imagine the better world. What is that better world that I am imagining? I'm sure most of it will be your imagination too. This is what I am imagining for a better world. Imagine a political system that puts the public first. Imagine the economy and markets serving people rather than the other way around. Imagine us placing values of respect, fairness, interdependence, and mutuality at the heart of our economy. Imagine an economy that gives everyone their fair share, at least an appropriate living wage, and no zero-hour contracts. Imagine where jobs are accessible and fulfilling, producing useful things rather than games of speculation and casino capitalism. Imagine where wages support lives rather than an ever-expanding divisions and separations between the top 1% and the rest. Imagine a society capable of supporting everyone's needs, which says no to greed. Imagine unrestricted access to an excellent education with values, healthcare, housing, and social services. Imagine hunger being eliminated, no more food banks and soup kitchens. Imagine each person having a place he or she can call home, a place of safety and bringing up families. Imagine all senior citizens living a dignified and secure life. Imagine all the youth leading their lives with ever-present hope for a better world. Imagine a planet protected from the threat of climate change now and for the generations to come. Imagine no more wars, but dialogue, conversation, and non-violent resolution of conflicts. This is a kind of imagination that most of us have. The hope for a better world, our positive imagination and hopeful dreams, at the end will lead to the creation of the better world that we are yearning for. It needs commitment, it needs courage, it needs values, it needs a struggle, it needs good education, but at the end we will get there. Our hope will lead us. To have good hopes and good imagination is the first step, but then other things should come. Others should come when we start focusing on the big picture of life. Today, in this materialistic world, our world has become a world of consumerism, Black Fridays, sales, and all these things that goes with this so-called modern world. Even though there are so many wonderful things is happening, but unfortunately there are other things happening that diverts our mind, stops us hoping, removes the possibility of imagination. So we need to engage at all levels with bigger pictures of life by asking profound and pertinent questions. What are those questions? Some of them that comes to my mind. Maybe you agree with them. Maybe you will have more questions that we can add to this list. These are questions of meaning, values, and purpose. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to live a life of meaning and purpose? What does it mean to understand and appreciate the natural world? What does it mean to forge a more just society for the common good? In what ways are we living our highest values? How are we working to embody the change we wish to see in the world? What projects, models, or initiatives gives us the greatest sense of hope? How can we do well in life by doing good? By their very nature, these questions involve thought and discussion around spirituality, ethics, morals, and values. This means that our lives are connected not only to knowledge, power, and money, but also to faith, hope, and wisdom. Unless the questions we ask encompass the full spectrum of these emotions and experiences, we are unlikely to find the answers we are looking for, or to understand them in any depth, let alone solving the problems and attaining the results that we wish to attain. In seeking to answer these and other pertinent questions, and to understand the world better, we need to discover the world not just as it is now, but also how it ought to be. Indeed, the deepest and most difficult questions with which we wrestle are problems of value, right and wrong, beautiful and ugly, just and unjust, worthy or unworthy, dignified or abhorrent, love or hatred, cooperation or competition, selflessness or selfishness, prosperity or poverty, profit or loss. These are all the values that we engage every day with. Human beings have explored these many questions of value through religion, philosophy, the creation of art and literature, and more. Indeed, questions of value have inaugurated many disciplines within humanities and continue to drive them today. Questions and conversations about values and valuing are fundamental to what it means to be human, but they rarely become the subject of explicit public reflections. Have you ever seen, during what we call democracy, every 4 or 5 years there is election, general election, a politician comes and talks like this? They all come and adhere to our greed. We are going to reduce your taxes. We are going to put more money in your pocket. We are going to do this. We are going to do that. As if the only thing that we are is all about money. Money is important, but it's only one side of it. A Persian proverb says, we are like a bird. We have got two wings. One is a material wing, one is a spiritual wing. We have put too much emphasis on this material wing. So this wing doesn't work anymore. And a bird cannot fly with one wing. It's a dead bird. And that's what we have become. Everything has become about money. Okay. Finally, I talked about hope. I talked about imagination. I talked about big questions. All these things need values. They needed value to complete the chain. All the chains must be locked together. The final part of the chain that I want to share with you is what kind of value we should have to make this imagination possible of building a better world. To that, I'm going to share with you the values of the GCGI. These values was not there 2002 when we established the GCGI. After 10 years, on the 10th anniversary, when we had our Oxford Declaration at Waterbury House, we came together, sitting in a room and asking people, our friends, participants, speakers, delegates, to write down what they think is important. Out of that exercise, we have developed these values that I think is important for our imagination and hope and the building of a better world. Let me just very quickly share these values with you. We value caring and kindness. We value passion and positive energy. We value service and volunteerism. We value simplicity and humility. We value trust, openness, and transparency. We value values-led education. We value harmony with nature. We value nonviolent conflict resolution. We value interfaith, intercivilizational, and intergenerational dialogue. We value teamwork and collaboration. We value challenge and excellence. We value fun and play. We value curiosity and innovation. We value health and well-being. We value a sense of adventure. We value people, communities, and cultures. We value friendship, cooperation, and responsibility. We value laughter and joy and happiness. Friends, our world is going through some troubled time. Everywhere you look, nobody is immune. And sometimes I wonder, the good Lord gave us this beautiful world. We saw this beautiful sunrise today. Last night, the sunset. We see all of us coming together. Different people, different cultures, different civilization, different backgrounds, different journeys. We give each other a hug. We give each other a kiss. We enjoy each other's company. We see the birds in the sky, the butterflies, blossoms, flowers. We have been given everything for a wonderful time to lead in this short period of time that we have got here before we go back to see the Creator who sent us here. What is it within our nature, within our humanity, that we have developed such a dark times, troubled times in our world? This is the question that we should answer. One thing is clear in my mind. I don't know if it's the same for you. The main problems that we face today are not problems of economics and money. Just look at it, 2008. In Britain, for example, as an example, that we were told we haven't got money to do this, housing, social services, benefit to the unemployed, disabled, giving bursary to students, so they have got to pay for the education, and hundreds of other things. The banks collapsed, okay? In a matter of hours, billions and trillions were made available to nationalize our banks by a government who was against regulation, by a government that did not believe the government must be there. The government must just deregulate so everybody exercise freedom to do what they want to do. The same government made it available, billions of pounds overnight, to rescue the banks. Where the money came from? So the problem is not money. The problem is not economics. The problem is not IT and lack of iPhone and iPad and computers and laptops and technology. So what is the problem? We have lost the sense of our humanity. We have lost the sense of what it makes us human and humane. We have lost the values that has made us great. And unless we rekindle that spirit. Unless we go back and ask the fundamental questions that I shared with you, some of them, and rekindle ourselves with the values that we learn at home, the values that we share with our children, the values that the children share with mom and dad and grandpa and grandma, aunties and uncle, all those values that are important. I can remember I was doing my PhD at Birmingham and I was a tutor. And Margaret Thatcher said that it doesn't make sense that we have got 6 economic days. We have got to have 7 economic days. So they opened up Sundays to business. Sundays in England, as I'm sure you know far better than I do, it was a day of rest. Places were closed. You just couldn't go and take the kids walking all around to go to the shops all day long on Sundays and go to McDonald's and get the chips and the burgers and so on. It was a day families came together. I can remember when I met my wife's family. The roast beef, the Yorkshire pudding, the apple pie, the guitar coming after the church, playing song, singing, togetherness, uncle, aunties, cousin, nephews. No more. They are all in the shops. So we have got to rediscover values. We have got to be brave enough to talk about what we think is the problem, come together, listening to each other, sharing each other's experience. My talk today was my experience. It's not the only experience. All of you have got experiences, and that's what we are here for. Talking to each other, writing about it, thinking about it, and we will create the better world that we are all imagining. I wish you all the most beautiful, successful, rewarding conference. Thank you to all of you, as Ian said a couple of times already. If it was not because of you, there would not have been any conference. So we are grateful. It is you who have made it possible.